In the 1980s and 90s, the word welcoming became a code word for being inclusive to lesbian, gay, and bisexual people. The Unitarian Universalist Association, which we affectionately call the UUA, launched a welcoming congregation program. It was to help UUs undo homophobia in our hearts, in our minds, in our congregations, and in our communities. The Reverends Ann Marsh and Wade Wheelock, when they arrived in 1993, wanted this congregation to become an official welcoming congregation, but they wanted it to come from the people. And there was a meeting, and current member Jill Rubio, who was a part of another UU congregation that was a welcoming congregation, asked, "Why aren't we a welcoming congregation?" Good questions, the Reverends Ann and Wade said. And what began was a couple, 2-3 year process of looking at a series of workshops, partnering with outside organizations, and then in May of 1998, this congregation officially voted to become welcoming. More than one person I know quit this church after that vote. Nonetheless, a local newspaper headline on June 2nd, 1998 read, "Unitarian Church welcomes gays, lesbians." Today, most UU congregations in our country are indeed welcoming congregations and are proud of that status. There's something to be said about an official process, whether that be a membership class, getting a diploma, or an ordination. You become certified and more confident in that new role. Most churches that lean liberal in the North Country are not very vocal about their support of LBGTQ plus people. More than one clergy have asked me if I would sign a same-sex marriage certificate for them because they wanted to, but were afraid of higher-ups. The fact that we have been officially out as a welcoming congregation for 27 years is something to have pride in. By the way, when I use the word we, I'm speaking about members and friends of this congregation. But being welcoming goes back farther than the 80s and the 90s. I know that the Reverend Max Coots gave multiple great sermons on gay rights in the 70s and 80s. And being welcoming means that we move forward and ahead as well. Today we partner with Potsdam Pride. We are a rainbow sponsor this year. LBGTQ groups meet here, use our building. We have organized in the recent past an LBGTQ plus film screening. The welcoming process in the 1990s emphasized lesbians and gays with some talk about bisexual, trans, and queer identities. In my time here, I emphasized trans rights in a series of sermons and where at least 2 trans folks told their stories from this pulpit. For a time, we hosted a support group for trans youth. I hung a pride flag in the sanctuary, and then a trans pride flag in the sanctuary. I have been questioned by many members what that flag means and if we really need one like that in the sanctuary. And I've responded by saying, as long as I am the minister of this congregation, I want LBGTQ plus people to know that they are welcome as soon as they come into this sanctuary. A couple of years ago, people asked me why we don't have a pride flag in the front of our building. And I said, I don't know. And we put one up. When the flag got bleached by the sun and ragged, we put a new one up. When we realized the flag would routinely wind itself and become invisible, Pete Beekman installed a more permanent vinyl one. As some states ban pride flags on government buildings, this seems like a bit of an act of justice. And every so often, in my time here at least, the topic of a welcoming congregation 2.0 comes up. Is the chance for congregations to recertify, and so more workshops get planned and more partnerships get pursued in the community. Because the reality is, violence toward transgender people is disproportionately high. Trans people are not allowed in the military. LBGTQ people have higher rates of suicide. There is more work to be done. And being a welcoming congregation is an ongoing process. In late 2018 and early 2019, in the midst of us being very proud of being a welcoming congregation, the 20-year anniversary, a conservative and evangelical church, the Christian Fellowship Center, wanted to buy a building here in the village, just on Court Street. I don't know if anyone remembers this time. They wanted to buy the building there, but the village made it clear that it was not zoned to be a church. But they went ahead and bought the building anyway, and then sued the village. Needless to say, there was a lot of heated debate and open meetings at the town hall because of this. And in that time, I found out that the CFC's senior pastor, his daughter came out as gay, and their family disowned her and shunned her. If your religion causes you to not love your own children, chances are there's something wrong with it. There was a lot of TV coverage. Local papers were writing stories about this controversy, and I was asked to make public statements. At one point, I said I would oppose any nonprofit, any business, or any church that was not open and affirming of LBGTQ plus people. And I also went on to say how a previous minister of this church was gay, and that many of our current leaders are LBGTQ plus. A member who does not identify as LBGTQ came and told me, "I'm afraid we are becoming a one-issue church." A longtime member, Eileen Raymond, an out lesbian, mildly rebuked me, saying we shouldn't brag that we are the gayest church in town. As a straight, cis, white man, I was a little put back by that because I thought I was doing the work of our church and being a good ally. Of course, this was a time when being pro-LBGTQ plus was cool. Even Target had a whole section of rainbow swag in Pride Month. No doubt, I was using this moment to get our congregation's brand and values out there in the public square. Now, Eileen, who I've grown to love, is no longer with us, so I can't ask her what was behind that statement. Sometimes we don't want to be singled out for our identity, but I think she ultimately liked what I was saying publicly, because days after Eileen's rebuke to me, I saw her at one of these zoning meetings open to the public at the town hall, and the senior pastor of the CFC was there smiling like, a car salesman as people came in and welcoming people. And I remember Eileen specifically saying something that he said, the pastor, Rick Sinclair, said something like, "Thanks for coming," and put out his hand to shake Eileen's hand. And Eileen said something like, "Hi, I'm Eileen Raymond. I'm surprised you are welcoming me here because I would not be allowed in your church. Despite objections, I would not back down then, and I for sure would not back down now. If anything, we need to be more vocal and keep growing in our understanding of what it means to be a welcoming congregation. An important part of our congregation's identity is that we are inclusive to LBGTQ plus people. The author, educator, and social critic Bell Hooks wrote in 2014, "Queer, not as being about who you're having sex with, that can be a mention of it, but queer as being about the self that is at odds with everything around it and has to invent it and create and find a place to speak and thrive and live, just to live. Even if we are straight or cis, chances are we have been queer. We have felt like strangers at times. We, at times, are a bit like discarded wax. But when we put ourselves together, we burn brighter. Our sexual and gender identities are part of our lives. And we bring our whole lives to us, to this congregation. And being part of this congregation means we are striving to become whole. The outcome of being welcoming is being hospitable to difference, open to diversity, and clearing a spot in the pews for the stranger. Being a welcoming congregation is not done and over. It's not, oh, we voted on that. Oh, we have an official approval from the headquarters in Boston. No one ever perfects being welcoming. Being truly welcoming is an ongoing process. Everything of value in the end is a process, isn't it? Being welcoming is a way of being, and that the root of being welcoming is love. Being welcoming is love in action. Love lives in a welcoming congregation. Love is bigger than a relationship between any two humans. Love itself calls to us in and through all our loving. As we encounter the mysterious power of love, it changes us into a people of welcome. For we know, we are certain of, no one is exempt from the power of love. And everyone is loved as they are. It's like the Billy Joel song says, I love you just the way you are. You see, love is an experience that shatters the false boundaries we create. Love shakes and devastates us into a new way of being. Love obliterates the binary, the either or thinking, the straight versus queer, the male versus female, the material versus spiritual. Love is a giving and a going out of. The transcendent spirit of love pulls us out of ourselves and into the greater other. Love is the power. Love is the energy. Love is the style and influence of the sacred ground of who we are. The greatest gift we can give to the world and to ourselves is love. The best thing we can be is love. The greatest faith we can have is in love. The best thing to work for is love and its expansion, and that we can let love unfold in our hearts. So today, on the first day of Pride Month, to all trans, queer, and other folk out there who are hurting and afraid, no country could ever truly take away your pride. No God worthy of worship could do anything but love you. And no true church could ever exclude you. Love welcomes all. The medieval Flemish Christian mystic poet Hedwig writes, "Love comes and consoles us, and then she goes away and knocks us down." This initiates the adventure. Whoever dares into the wilderness of love will understand this coming and going. Love asks of us to go on an uncertain journey, to take a chance. The love that moves the sun and the other stars does not restrict us. No, it opens us up. Love attracts us into fresh possibility. Love invites us to risk our best possible response to that irritating neighbor, the person that is different from us, or the one that society others. The love of life calls us forth into an amorous adventure. And we respond to all the possibilities that are in front of us. Only in the wilds of love do we truly come to be free and actualize our potentiality. Our 200 years is an inheritance, a legacy of love. And the future is not pre-programmed. We are invited, as we are, to creatively expand love. The forces of love urge us urgently to the edge of becoming into something more than we already are. May we respond to the urge of love with beauty, with creativity, and with welcome. For love is in us, and we are in love. Ever keep on to the end in love. So may it be, and amen.